Hello, this is Coach Nick Timonello, and we're coming to you live from Earth Treks in Timonium, the mecca of indoor climbing on the East Coast. We're going to show you exactly how to get ready for bouldering, how to warm up, how to get it done. We're here with two of the top pros and two very good friends of mine on the bouldering circuit today, Matt Bosley and Charlotte Joyt. Did I get it right?
Yep.
Perfect. I was afraid I was going to mess that up. These guys are going to show you exactly what they do to get ready to compete at the high level that they compete at on a regular basis. If you're a beginner, this stuff that we're going to show you will only reinforce the patterns that you're learning and make you better at everything that you're picking up on this bouldering wall. If you're a pro like these guys, these will only make your movements that much better, that much more refined, and get you ready to compete at the highest levels possible. So, without further ado, let's get moving, guys, and we'll kind of take it as we go. We're going to take you step by step. We're not doing take twos. We're not doing fluff and puff. We're not doing rehearsals. We're going to show you exactly how this gets done. It's not always perfect, but we're going to make it happen so you get an accurate view of how I coach these guys through it and how they learn it. Okay? Sound good? Thanks for joining me, by the way.
No problem.
All right, Matt? Thank you. So, the first aspect of the warm-up, we have a three-part warm-up. We're going to start with the mobility. We're going to try to increase our range of motion, increase joint mobility and muscle flexibility. So we're going to start with the ankles and calf complex. Charlotte, you want to come on down? Why don't we actually turn you this way? Okay, and Matt, why don't we turn you, you can be north this way. So the first position we're going to start with, if you've done yoga, looks like almost like a downward dog position. We want Charlotte and Matt's back very straight with their rear end nice and high. So I'm going to come over here and tweak Matt a little bit. Shoulder blades are together. From there, they're going to cross one leg behind the other. So one foot is off the ground. And from there, we're going to proceed to bend the knee of the down leg, that's Charlotte's left leg, and then push your heel flat, holding it just for 1 or 2 counts, and come back. Let's just do 5 on each side, guys. Okay, so Matt, I want you to bring your butt back. And just like that, now hold this. Now just drive your knee to the floor, and then come back. Excellent. Okay, we're getting a stretch in Matt's left calf right now. Just do 5 per side, guys. Now this is the reason why we keep this footage raw, because not everybody moves perfectly all the time. Charlotte has some of her strengths, some of her weaknesses that you'll see us work out within the filming here, and Matt has some of his strengths and weaknesses, and you'll see us working through those as well. And the first one is he keeps dropping his butt. We want to get some extension here. This is common for climbers. They get very tight through the shoulders and the anterior region, which is the front, and we want to make sure they get some extension through here, because you need to have that when you reach up. Go ahead and switch sides, guys, if you haven't done it. Okay, did we get that done?
Yep.
All right, so now that calves and ankles are warmed up, we go right into inchworms. I'll get out of the way. So from here, let's watch Charlotte get it done here. We got to get feet out. Okay, let's bring your feet in now, Charlotte. Let's go feet to hands, guys. Perfect. Walking from your ankles, no knee bend. Then you walk your hands out. Go ahead, Matt, all the way out. Perfect. And then you just put the rewind button on. Hands go to feet. Arms are straight all the way. Really getting a nice stretch all through here. And then feet go back. Let's just do about 4 reps here. The first part of this DVD, we're going to take you step by step. You're going to see all the tweaks. You're going to hear how I coach them. You're going to hear all the mistakes that people make so you can better learn it. It's going to be a little slower than it normally happens in real life because of all the cueing and all the learning that you're going to be doing. The second part of the DVD, we're going to cut out all the cueing, and you're going to just get to see these guys do it real time, 3 and 4 reps apiece. Okay? You start to loose up there, so that's the inchworm. That's the second progression. Third progression, we do a 4-count squat. And the 4-count squat, it comes right after the inchworm. So we ended up here. We're just going to spread our feet a little wider. Actually, I'll stand this way. You guys keep the direction you're going. And it's 4 counts. 1 count is down. Go ahead and do it with me, guys. Second count is butt down, knees out. We start to get some activation at your glutes, okay? And a stretch here. Third count is hands up. That activates all back muscles. And then the 4th count is stand up, which starts to turn on your legs, okay? So let's do a few reps. So it's down for 1, or bend for 1. Drop your butt for 2. Hands up for 3, and stand for 4. So you want to bow over without dropping your butt first, Matt. So down first. Good. That stretches the hamstring. Drop your butt, loosen up your hips, engage your back, and stand up. Let's get 2 more, guys. You got it? The biggest thing here, a lot of people don't have the mobility, is you want to get this as straight as possible. If you're looking like this, just keep moving, guys. If you're looking like this is definitely something you need to work on if that's as low as you can go. Because this kind of mobility you need when you're hanging on the wall. One more. Perfect. Be sure to keep those knees out. Excellent. Okay? So then we go into what we call a split squat. We're going to split our feet like this. Alright, and you can see there's a little bit of balance happening. Now if my left foot is back, I'm going to reach my left hand up. Alright, I'm going to drop my knee straight to the floor. As I do that, I'm going to reach over to the side and then come back. I'll face you guys so you can see it. Just do a few reps, guys. We'll do 5 on each side. What I'm doing here is I'm creating a lot of length in my hip flexor and my lat. This looks a lot like a drop knee. Okay? Now I can very easily alternate sides if I want. You stay on the same side, guys. It's fine. But it's a little more realistic for climbing just to work on one side. Okay, so now let's go ahead and switch. So we just switch sides. We want to stay tall. And the cue that I would give my athletes here is back heel up off the ground. That stays there, just like toeing on a hold. Okay, arm up. And I'm going to tell Charlotte to, in order to stay straight up, because we want good posture, to drop her back knee to the floor as she, drop your back knee, as she reaches over. She feels a nice stretch down the right side of the body. How you doing over here, Matt? Good? Good. Now if you notice, Matt is leaning forward, and there's nothing really wrong with that, but if you have some knee issues, that could irritate your patellar tendon mainly. So what I would tell Matt to do is stay tall, put my hand right here, okay, hand up. Now, don't think about going forward, don't push into my hand. I want you just to drop your back knee to the floor. Good, and come back up. You see that keeps him a little straighter, and also probably gives him a better stretch. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Okay? Good. So we want to make sure that this ankle is straight. Otherwise, we don't get ample stretch and flexion. Alright, so from there, guys, stay there. All they're going to do from here, we're going to drop our hands down and cross behind. Okay? Just like this. Why don't you guys actually face this way so they get a better view. Okay? So now we're starting to really stretch the lateral aspect of your hips. And then we're going to drop straight down and straight back. Okay? So you're going to make sure that your feet are crossed behind you. So if I was on this line, I'd have one foot to the right of the line, the other foot to the left of the line. Okay? Without jamming in here. Make sure I have some space. Charlotte looks pretty good. And you could probably stand a crossover just a little bit more. And you see, you have 2 top pros right here being challenged by simple, fundamental stuff. Go ahead and drop down a few more, guys. Stretching here, activating here, turning on some balance. And you'll notice some of these moves look a lot like climbing. Other ones look a little bit like climbing, but they all reinforce movement patterns that are important to climbing. Good. So let's go ahead and switch sides. Perfect. Excellent. Matt's doing a good job staying tall. Charlotte's doing good over here. And what I always tell my athletes is every exercise is an opportunity to get better. So just because this is a warm-up and it's not the main part of the workout or it's not on the wall, doesn't mean it's not important. You can set the tone for how good you're going to climb by how well you warm up, and that's why we develop this warm-up. Alright, so from there, you guys remember what's next? Lateral squats. So we're going to come right here. Okay? Now we're going to put our feet about 4 feet apart. Feet are pointed straight ahead. Want the torso up. Posture is always important. Okay? Hands can be here or here. And I'm going to shift all the way down as deep as I can to one side. I want my heels flat on this one. Okay? I know in climbing you're on your toes, but you need to develop the ankle mobility to get there. Then from here I'm just going to shift right over. Okay? We'll just hold each one for about a second or two. Okay? Good. You could come up and back down if you want, but realistically in climbing, a lot of times you're shifting from hold to hold to really shift your body weight over to keep your weight on your legs, right? Right where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Do a few more of those, guys. And all this stuff is dynamic. If we're getting ready for a dynamic activity, you want to warm up dynamically. So sitting on your back and, Sitting in stretches like this, that gets you ready to take a nap. This gets you ready to climb and compete with these two. All right, so from there, stay where you are, guys. This looks very similar to this, but it's a big difference. I'm going to open my feet up like this, like an L. Okay, we call this a 45-degree squat. So from here, let's try to I'll get on your page here, guys. So our left foot is going to be pointed straight towards you guys. The right foot is going to be pointed back towards the corner of the wall there. Our hands are going to be pointed 45 degrees, and we're just going to the back foot, right in here. Okay? All the way back. So now we're getting a stretch in the hamstring and stretching in a different part of your groin. This one's really got a lot of carryover to climbing. Yeah. How you doing back there, Matt? Good? Excellent. We'll do one more, and then we'll switch sides. Doesn't take a lot of repetitions. 3, 5, 6 reps at most, and you're ready to go on each of these movements. All the way down. So I actually need you going to this side. Back up. So you're here. Get back here. Uh-oh. Memory lapse. All right. Bring this foot over here. That's all right. Good. This is a lot to remember. Now, I want you to face this way. Okay. And I want you to sit back to this leg. Okay. Okay. There it is. Good. And you're going back that way. Good. And if you notice, there's a little bit of a flow to these movements. The reason why we put that flow is so eventually you can get in patterns and you can have this stuff memorized. All right? It's okay if you don't have it memorized at all. The more you do it, eventually you're going to do it in your sleep. These guys have been doing this for a little while now, but it's still fairly new to them. And the reason why they were so excited to come here with me is because when I first showed it to them, I was getting all kinds of, feedback from me. And I was telling them, oh my God, my hip turnout's never been better, and this, that, and the other. So we were excited to put this on DVD and show it to you guys because we can benefit the whole climbing community with this information. So from here, Spider-Man is your favorite, right?
Yep.
So why don't you guys face each other? Okay, so here's how we're going to start. Get a little closer. Let's stagger. Charlotte, you can go a little bit in front of Matt. So why don't you go a little closer there. Matt, come over here. Okay? So now, push-up position. All right, what we're going to do is, Matt, I'm going to have you do your left side. I'm going to have you do your right side. So Charlotte's going to step her right foot on the outside of her hand, like she's going to step on her pinky finger. Okay? What I tell them here is we want chest up, back leg straight, and hip down. So Matt's perfect. We have a nice straight line here. Okay? A lot of people, when they do this, just hold tight for a second, guys, will look like this. If you look like that and you're trying to get your chest up and it's just not happening, this is something you need to work on. You're a little tight. And that's going to restrict you when you're stepping high. So anyway, we got 3 counts here. If my left foot is up, I'm going to put my left elbow to the floor. That's 1, stretching the hips and spine. Then I'm going to open up to the sky, stretching the shoulders. Then I go to the outside of my foot, and I'm going to try to straighten my leg and stretch my hamstring. Okay? Now I'm just going to repeat. So my hand comes back. It's 1, 2, 3. Remember, we want to keep it dynamic. Again, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Okay? I'm going to get out of your way so you can watch Matt do a few. Got to make it look good, Matt. Camera's on. Did not do the hamstring. Perfect. This is something we want you to get into a routine. All right? These guys are still getting better at this stuff. But the better you get here, the better you get there. Plain and simple. So, now go ahead and switch sides. So all we do is put your feet back, switch. Good. So now if Charlotte has her left leg up, it's left elbow to the floor. Left elbow to the floor. There you go. Arm to the sky. And then to the outside of the foot. And then hamstrings. Good. Okay. When you try this, you're going to go through all these same things. Oh, what was that exercise? That's why they make the rewind button. And then hamstring. So it's 3 parts. Elbow, arm, and then hamstring. Okay? And you're getting a little low back as well. Alright, last one, guys. You guys are pretty motivated. So, we're going to go to all 4s. All right? This one's your favorite one, right, Charlotte? The pigeon stretch?
Oh yeah, this is great.
All right, so if you've ever done yoga, you'll notice a lot of these things are like yoga and fast forward. So from all fours, we'll take one side. I'm going to use my right leg. I'm stretching my left hip, and I'm going to drop this leg behind all the way, keeping my chest flat, so I'm stretching this hip. I don't want to go to my rear end, turn my back to you guys. I want to keep my chest down here, right? Then I come back home, and I'll switch sides. Okay, just for a second or two.
This is a great stretch because it really opens up your hip flexors, which is something we use in climbing a whole lot.
Right? And your hip rotators. It's a good point. Very good point. Looking good, Matt? Good. Just for a second or two, so I want to hold it. Because you should get a little sweat going when you do this stuff. Let's get a few more guys. And we developed this because a lot of people, pigeon pose is a great stretch, have a hard time getting this here and getting down like you do in yoga class. Very simple. Just go here. So you yoga instructors out there, you can steal this one. Right in here. Okay? It's the same thing done, a lot easier for people to learn. And if you notice, no equipment here, just body weight. You can do this stuff anywhere. You don't need any special equipment. All you need is your body. And that's why we designed this warm-up the way we did. All right, so the last one we do is the arm crossover. So once I'm here, okay, actually I'll do it here, be a little easier for you to see. I'm just going to go right to my side, and I'm going to get almost like in a fetal position. I'm 90 degrees at my knees, see, 90 at the hip. I'm going to have my arms like this. Now my bottom arm, up a little bit, Matt's bottom arm is going to wrap right under his knee. Okay, lock those down. I know he's got enough grip strength. And then he's going to try to put his opposite arm and shoulder mainly, and Charlie can do the same thing. So I want to get her shoulder blade on the floor. Okay? You hold it for a second because you're pretty mobile here. Matt, how are you doing? Good. Okay. So he's a little bit tighter than Charlotte is, but he's still getting down pretty low. So you can keep working on that side for me a little bit. Now, a lot of girls are a little bit more naturally mobile than men are, especially in their hips. So here's what I would do to Charlotte to challenge her more, because she's no problem here, right? So see how high her leg is? See how high her leg is because it's being held up by this leg? I would have her straighten out her bottom leg and now drop this all the way down. She's going to then hold it to the floor. Now it's lower, so when she comes over, a little more stress. I don't know if you can see her squint a little bit, okay? It doesn't hurt, but she feels it. And you want to keep it dynamic. Okay, so here I am, toe, reaching for my hold. Good, guys. Do a few more, then we can switch sides. And you'll feel yourself starting to open up on these. If you start to open up, you can always progress from 2 knees to 1 knee. All right, guys, go ahead and switch sides for me. This is good. We got one top to bottom view and one lateral view. All right, you may have a side that's tighter than the other. That's why we always do this stuff on both sides. You see, all our warm-ups are unilateral. We don't really do anything that's here except for the 4-count squat. We always hit one side and then the other side. That way we alleviate any imbalances that you may have. If everything you do, even from strength training, is always 2 arms, 2 legs, you're always going to reinforce your strong side and you're always going to neglect your weak side. That's just your body's natural tendencies. This is your tighter side?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Good. Excellent. A few more. Excellent. All right, guys, take a break for a second. So, we just showed you 10 mobility exercises. We covered the entire body. And even with all that explanation, we probably were working in 10 minutes or so. Once you get good at this, you'll be able to knock this whole thing out in 5 minutes. Alright guys, so now that we're finished our dynamic mobility portion where we increased the range of motion of the joints and the muscles, we're going to move on to what we call muscle activation. Muscle activation is where we start to turn on some of the muscles that are really important to climbing, and a lot of the muscles that are really important to climbing are also the muscles that we not only neglect a lot through our workouts, but we're really tend to stretch and put on length through our everyday habits, sitting at our desk, coming from sitting in our car where we're slouched over, we tend to lengthen our glutes, put some tightness in our shoulders. We need to turn these muscles on for heel hooking, open you up for big reaches. So we're really going to focus on turning on your torso muscles, your core muscles, which are beyond the abdominals. Your core is everything without your legs and hips. So anything that's left, if we took Charlotte's arms and legs off, everything that's left, that's her core, and that's what we're going to turn on. All right? Before we do that, though, during our break, Matt came over to me and said, Nick, I'm going to tell you something about this mobility warm-up I've been doing. And why don't you go tell him?
Yeah, well, what you were talking about is that the warm-up we just did has helped me, just in the short time I've been doing it. Because, guys I know are in climbing are guilty of not stretching and not warming up properly. And it's helped me because, I compensate by using my arms a lot and, cutting my feet over. But, this particular warm-up's helped me with, keeping my one foot on and then moving it over without actually having to pick both up and move them to the side. And that's just one thing I've noticed, in the little bit of time I've been, doing this. So
Yeah,
it's been helpful to me.
You said you're actually able to hit a new move that you couldn't hit before.
Yeah, normally,
right?
I'd be able to do a move that I, would normally cut my feet and do, and I was able to keep my foot on and allowed me to do it a little quicker and, more efficiently, especially, which is good, especially if, you only have one try, in competition or, on a hard boulder problem or something.
There you go. And there's a saying, if you do what you've always done, you get what you've always got, right? If you want to get what these guys got, top professionals on the bouldering circuit, you got to do what they do, right? They've realized they need to take their game to the next level and do things that will take them to the next level, and there you go, already hitting new moves. Just by a few minutes of mobility stuff in the beginning of their bouldering session. We all can dedicate 5 or 10 minutes, or even 20 minutes, to a warm-up if it's going to make your 2 hours of hard bouldering that much better and maybe help you win, a medal or, some free swag from Sickle, whatever you get, right? So now, let's hit the muscle activation portion. So we ended up right in here after our arm crossover, okay? In keeping with the flow, sit down, guys. We're going to go single leg lowering. So I'm just going to go right to our back, all right? We're going to go legs up in the air, okay? So I'll cue you guys from here. So, perfect. So Matt should up in the air. I'm going to get behind Matt here. We're going to keep our head flat. Now, from here, relative to your flexibility, some people might be a little tight on their hamstrings, but they might be here. That's okay. This really has a little bit to do with mobility and a lot more to do with activation of this and activation of your hips. Now, this is a little different than what you might expect. What I'm going to have Matt do is I'm going to tell him, think about if I took a hot coffee cup and put it right on your foot. I don't want him to spill the coffee. He's not going to move this leg, essentially. He's going to use these muscles to stabilize it, and he's going to lower this leg as far as he can without moving this leg. Okay? Then he's going to raise it back up, and then do it again. Same side. Just going to go 5 per side, 2-second holds. Okay? And come back. So we're trying to not necessarily work on range of motion here, which we already got. We're going to work on activating and strengthening the new ranges that we have. Okay? So the goal here is not how far down Charlotte's left leg goes. It's how stable, in this case her right leg, she just switched. It's how stable her one leg stays. Okay, her top leg stays. Now you can do this one of two ways. You can alternate like a march, or you can keep it one stable and just use one side. So let's try one side, just show them. Okay, you can see she's a little shaky, and that's okay. Okay, if you lack control of one movement while you're, or one area while the other one's moving, that's going to pull you off the wall. Okay, so this is what that develops. So hip flexors and abs right there. Now we're going to drop one knee down, hug the other one. Okay, and if you think about this position here, if you can use your imagination, if I stood myself up, I'm in a drop knee. Okay? Now, we're going to have them bridge. Glutes up. Okay? So off the ground. Oops, sorry. Come on back up. On the ground. Okay? And then back down. So we like to hold these for a few seconds to really get some activation here. So now we turn on the hip flexors. We're going to turn on the hip extenders, which are your butt muscles. Okay, guys, let's do about 5 on each side. Good. So this is your heel hook. right here. Heels up, pull yourself and stand. This is what you need to get. Okay? Now this is actually good right here. You notice how Matt has got his, both of them have their feet straight, which is good. Matt has got his heel a little closer to his rear end. Charlotte's got her foot a little further. The further your foot is out, or the straighter your down leg is, that's going to work a little more hamstring and calf, okay? And the closer your heel is, it's going to be a little bit more glute. So it depends on what your weak area is. You could do a little bit of both. Right? Starts to turn that on a little bit. Okay? So, from there, guys, we're going to roll to our belly, and we're going to be in like a snow angel position. Okay? From here, we're going to work on hip mobility. That's really important. Hip activation off the mobility we developed. This is one thing that we came up with out of one of Charlotte's recommendations, because a lot of climbers, she mentioned a lot of climbers have a hard time getting their knees up. Right, Charlotte?
Yeah, getting the ability to open up your hips and get them into the wall and almost kind of sit like a frog position on the wall.
Okay? So, exactly right. So here's what we're going to do now. They're going to try to, let's do, both you guys, since you're facing the same, we'll do the left side. Watch me for a second. We're going to lift our left leg up and then try to touch our left knee to our elbow. Doesn't matter if you don't get it, without putting your leg on the floor. Okay? Because now, in order to get this, glute activation. Okay? So here, then I come back, here, and then I come back. You can hear my voice. This is harder than it looks. Okay? So guys, let's do 10 beats on each side. You can put it down when you're switching, but want to make sure it stays in the air when you're actually doing it. Perfect. As high as you can get. You ask these guys what they're feeling, all hips. All hips. So once you guys have done about 10, we'll switch sides. Now again, this is one of those ones I could do it left side, then right side, left side, then right side, or I can do all right side and all left side. It's really your choice. Good? Matt, you feel any difference from one side to the other?
Yeah, I think so. I think
Yeah, right.
this side feels a little tighter right now.
Okay. So if you have one side that's really bad, like maybe somebody has a past injury, then I would definitely focus on doing more repetitions on your weaker side. You know, we're giving you a very generalized warm-up here, something that we always go through, but you can tailor and tweak these a little bit relative to your limitations. And that does bring me to a point. If there's anything that we do here that hurts you, that just does not feel good, don't do it. You know, if you've hurt your shoulder and we put you in a position that bothers your shoulder, you have a wrist injury, just skip it and go to something else. All right, now from here, we're going to go into a traditional elbow plank, but instead of having our elbows here like they do, normally we're going to put our arms like this. Okay, then these guys are going to lift up. This is a really cool arm. I'm excited to bring this one to you guys. Spread your feet a little wider. Okay, now this is a great exercise in and of itself. This is what a lot of people are doing, but all of climbing has to do with a lot of rotation and movement. So what I'm going to have them do is, both of you guys, I want you to go to your right side first so they can see, is lift up an arm and rotate to one side, hold it for 2 seconds, and then come back in slow motion, and then come back to the other side. Hold it for 2, and then come back. Okay? So the arms like this allow that flow to happen better. And the important thing to look at here is what most people do wrong, is they flop their hips first, and then they reach. Okay? Or they flop their hips, and then they reach. That's not body tension. That's not core strength. Okay? Notice Charlotte, when she lifts, she turns her hips and shoulders together at the same time. That's core control, and brings them back at the same time. Okay? So this is almost like an assessment. And I use this movement in my practice with all my athletes as an assessment, and you'd be surprised how many people I see that can't do this the right way. Okay? Good? All right, guys, one more. So again, hips and shoulders together on the way up, hips and shoulders together on the way back. Perfect. Now, from here we're going to go to this position. All right? And Charlotte, do me a favor. I want you to swing around this way and head face that way. Good, that way. Charlotte, the camera hog over here, just blocking Matt. All right, so from here, look, knees wide, sit your hips back. Okay? We call this a reach, roll, and lift. And the name of the exercise is the directions of the exercise. So palms are down. Again, I can do all one side or I can alternate sides. It's their choice. I'm going to reach with my palm. Okay, don't crawl with my finger. Roll my palm up as far as I can, and then lift with my arm without lifting my torso. Okay, and then we'll bring it back, and then I can repeat on the same side. I'm going to reach, roll, and lift. Okay, guys, I want you to do 5 on each side. I don't care if you alternate or go the same side. Okay. Now this one is a lot harder than it looks. When I first showed Matt this one, I heard some interesting noises come out of him. But that just goes to show you how strong someone can be, but compensate around weak areas. And Charlotte, what I need you to do is try to get your palm flat, like this, or the back of your hand flat, excuse me, okay? Now, why are we doing this? Because this does take a little explanation. Climbers are very lat dominant. Your lat is mostly what's responsible for pulling you up and keeping you tight. However, sometimes we get overextended. You got to make a big, big reach. Your lat then goes on stretch, okay? And then you're relying on the stabilizers of your shoulder to control that movement while you then pull yourself to get your lat turned on. So we purposely have you reach and stretch your lat, okay? Your lat is an internal rotator of your shoulder. So then we externally rotate your arm. That means knuckles on the ground. So your lat is now on stretch and it can't help the movement. And then we ask for activation. Okay, so now we get some strength without being in the shoulder, without being lat dependent. And this could definitely save you from shoulder injuries, right? And this one I would tell you is probably one of the hardest ones
Definitely the most challenging for me.
that we've done. All right, which shows you probably one of the more important things to do, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the activation warm up. We're going to take a little water break, and then we're going to finish with the nervous system activation. So now that we've gotten through the mobility portion of the warm-up and we've gotten through the activation portion of the warm-up, we're going to go into the CNS activation, or we call the CNS priming, central nervous system, CNS. And what we're going to do here is, now that we have more range of motion and we have some activation, we need to prep your nervous system, your brain, for some of the dynamic activities and some of the unpredictable activities, different ankle angles, arm angles, quick movements, fast movements, power movements, any of those types of things. We need to prep and get you ready so the next thing is you're right to the wall and your body is prepared for whatever is coming out of that. Okay? So what we're going to do here is you're going to notice we're going to really focus on some ankle strength and also shoulder mobility and quick dynamic movements. Okay? Because not everything in climbing is very, very static. All right? Some of these are going to require some coordination. That's what's going to activate your nervous system. And we're also going to look at keeping your body in positions where you have optimal posture. All right? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to start off with what's called a pogo jump. Pogo jump is we're going to start our arms like this. Okay? You guys can just do it with me. You guys stay where you are. I'm going to turn so I can show you better. I'm actually going to pull my toes up. All right? So much of climbing and so much of what we've done already is with your toes down, which is very calf oriented, but again, we need to have some stability in your ankle joint. All right? Not only for climbing, but sometimes you don't always climb down and you fall down. Okay, so we need to have some ankle stiffness. So what we're going to do is tighten up our body and quickly lift up. Now you see how my toes are coming off the mat? Okay, I know it looks a little spazzy. This is tougher than it looks. Okay, that's what I want. I want to activate some of these anterior muscles to create some joint stiffness. Okay, now when I showed these guys this movement and Charlotte saw the hand position, I actually had them, we rest in between because this does fatigue you a little bit. The goal here is not to work out. The goal here is a warm-up. All right, you're trying to prep for then get ready for your workout. So Charlotte told me about these finger exercises that she had, right? So in order to get more density, more bang for your buck, she's included some specific finger strengthening or finger prep exercises to throw in between these pogo jumps. Okay? So let's do a set of pogos. We do 30 pogos. She's going to walk you through the finger movements, and then we're going to repeat that twice. Okay? So, you guys ready? We'll go pogos, and then you show the finger drills.
Okay.
Here we we go, 30 pogos, guys, as fast as you can. Okay, so stay tall, knees straight. Good. The goal is minimize ground contact time. Okay, right in here. All right.
Okay, and then next we're going to move to wrist rolls. We're just going to really get that full range of motion with our wrists. So we'll do 10 on one side in one direction, and then we'll go 10 back the other direction. And we do this because, you know, your wrist plays an integral part in climbing. If you're falling down and you're putting your hand back, you know, if you're on slopers, your wrists get bent, so you really want to get that full range out of your wrists. So once we've done 10 on each side, we're going to go to our spirit fingers. This is really kind of like the pogos, but for your hands.
Jazz hands.
Kind of like jazz hands. So we'll go ahead and we'll just do 20 of these. And this really just kind of warms up those fingers and gets ready for the next finger exercise that we're going to do.
Also known as the get away from me, you can't buy me a drink movement.
And then once we've done our spirit fingers, we're going to move into something that I learned actually from a hand specialist. It's called your tendon range of motion. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to put your hands straight up like this. You're going to curl your fingers down to a claw-like position. Then you're going to move them straight out, bend them down at your joint, and then scoop them back up into that claw-like position. This actually allows you to do that full range of motion, so you're actually warming up your tendons, which a lot of climbers don't really do until they're on the wall and they're crimping or doing something like that. So this really is a great warm-up for climbers. More climbers should do this. So you go down to your claw, out to your straight, scoop down, scoop up, back to that claw. And we'll go ahead and do that just 5 times because it's kind of a complicated exercise there.
Now, if there's one thing I can say as a coach, you want to keep moving through, this is where you get the benefit of having 2 professional level climbers and us getting together and coordinating on this project, because this is something that someone who works with athletes, professional athletes or athletes of all levels, I wouldn't even have thought of. And it's so specific and so fundamental to climbing. This is the benefit of having a collaboration between a professional strength coach and professional level climbers. So now you're getting the best of both worlds coming together to bring you what you've seen here, which is the most comprehensive warm-up that you could possibly do to get ready to take on what's behind us, the bouldering cave. Right?
Yep.
So you want to hit the pogos again. So we're going to do that again. 30 pogos. Try to get a little faster this time. Good. A little stiffer, Charlotte. You actually want to try to keep your legs straight here. Okay? Right in here. All right? And that's okay. You know, it's not always going to be perfect. And that's why we keep the footage the way it is, because you're going to see us coach each other through this. Okay? All right? So we've got the wrist rolls, right?
Yep. Just make sure you're keeping your arms straight and you're rolling in your wrists.
Perfect. Good. Now Matt is doing closed hands and Charlotte's doing open hands, which you said is just as
Yep, they're both fine. I think the open hand might be a little more tricky with your coordination than the closed hand.
right. Jazz hand. All right. How many of all these are you doing?
We're going to be doing, we did 10 of each rotation of the wrist rolls, and we do 20 of the spirit fingers. And then we just move in and we do 5 of these tendon. So it was with a flat hand, kind of come down to a claw-like position, keeping this part of your finger in the back straight. A lot of climbers can't really get their fingers all the way down because just like our muscles, like we were stretching the different parts, we have our tendons. A lot of our tendons are really tight from climbing. So straight out and down, scoop it up, back up to that claw position, straight up. And do it all over again, do that 5 times.
So we're making the most out of your recovery time while your nervous system is recovering by the pogo jumps, which really do tax your nervous system. They're making better use of their time. They're getting something else done, something that, doesn't require as much neural activation, central nervous system activation. And like everything you were doing, once you learn this, it just flows, right?
Yep.
Okay? And I'm still learning it as well. So one of the things we were just talking about with the pogos before we actually came on to show you guys was the floor here. If you notice, we're in a really soft surface, soft floor. That's going to make it tougher if you're on a floor like this in a gym like this to get these pogos. Okay, well, actually may even make it more central nervous system stimulating. All right. The concept here is to be able to do this stuff anywhere. So if you're outdoors, obviously that's not going to be an issue, or if you're on a hard surface, there really is no better place to do this or the other. You might have to use a crash pad when you're on your back if you're outside. If you're on a floor like this, you might not be as fast doing your pogos as if you were on like a harder surface. So don't think that you're doing it wrong. A lot of times a surface will kind of slow you down here. But as long as you're moving as fast as you can, the intent, you're getting the desired outcome. You're getting a lot of central nervous system activation. But you want to try to move with some efficiency and some quickness. Okay? So from here, we got the pogos. We're going to move into what we call the jumping jack circuit. All right? We're going to look at 3 dimensions of movement. All right? Many people know jumping jacks this way. But that's only one dimension. That's only the lateral dimension. Okay? But our shoulders work in all dimensions, and so do our hips. So what we're going to do is we develop this jumping jack circuit. We're going to go 10 regular jumping jacks. Okay, you want to get full range of motion. Then we're going to do what we call a seal jump. Like the seal fins, we're going to open up this way. Okay? Now we're really opening up our pecs and our shoulders. Okay? Then after we finish a few of the seal jacks, we're here. We're actually going to cross over jumping jacks. So we're going to cross the left arm over the right arm and the left leg over the right leg, and then come back and then switch. So it looks like this. Over, back, over, back, over, back. And if you look at this position here, look at my ankles. Okay? There's your toe out position. There's your drop step. Okay? You get in positions like this when you climb. All right? Reaching through. Now you're stretching here. All these things have a lot of carryover to climbing, right?
Yep.
Okay? So why don't you guys move in just a little bit. Why don't we stagger you? So Shelley, you come back a little bit. Matt, we've had you hiding in the back the whole video, so we're going to put you out front.
Okay.
I'm putting Matt on the spot here because his favorite is the crossover jumping jacks. So, and let's go 10 of each. We're going to do 2 rounds through with a 10-second breather. So first, guys, regular jumping jacks. Here we go. Good. Again, full range. None of this. Charlotte. And then we go seal jumps. Now if you notice, Charlotte is moving her hands in and her legs out at the same time. Matt was doing the reverse and he just corrected it. Actually, neither one is wrong. And then the crossover. You want a big crossover in front and a big crossover, or a big opener in the back.
Got me.
No pressure, but the camera's rolling, you know. Good. I'll try to alternate. Perfect. Woo. So you rest about 10 seconds. Again, we're not trying to get exhausted before you get on the wall. Right?
Yeah.
This is why we say it's nervous system activation.
I'll get your blood flowing.
Yeah.
We're challenging not only your heart rate and get your cardiovascular system going, body temperature rolling, but we're stimulating your coordination, which if you've ever climbed, you need coordination. Okay? Let's try it one more time, guys. Good. You notice both of them are making very deliberate jumps, really using their ankle muscles and their shoulders. I told you this was Matt's favorite part. Good. Awesome. Whoa. This goes to show you, this stuff is not easy. You can take someone at his level and make them have to really work. It tells you something. All the way out, Matt. Good. All right. So that was the final part of our warm-up. That's the central nervous system activation. All right, so what you guys got to see is exactly how high-level climbers like this get ready to climb the way that they climb. All right, you got to see step by step. You got to be a fly on the wall to everything that we do here exactly as we do it. You got to see a few mistakes made. You got to see us laugh. You got to see us sweat a little bit. This is how it gets done the way we do it, and this is how it's going to get done when you do it. You want to keep doing these over and over again. You cannot do this stuff too much. It reinforces fundamental movement patterns that will only help you get better at not only your general athletic ability, but climbing as well. And actually, even we call this a bouldering warm-up DVD, all this stuff will help you doing your routes and doing your top rope stuff too,
Oh, yeah,
right? I
definitely,
mean, it's very, very similar. So it really should be warm up for climbing, but bouldering just sounds cooler, you know, because we like bouldering, right?
Yeah.
That's how you get these guns right here. Okay. So a couple closing statements. We want to talk about time. We took a lot of time breaking down each movement, showing you some of the common flaws, some of the mistakes that you might make, and telling you the right ways to do it. This whole warm-up, when you do it and you get used to it, will take you less and less and less time to do it. You'll know that you're doing it well when the whole thing takes you 15 minutes or less. You should be able to blow through it 3 to 6 reps of the mobility, 5 to 10 reps of the activation, and about 10 to 15 reps of the nervous system type stuff, right? And speaking of time, Charlotte was mentioning about condensing her climbing time and her preparation time, right? So why don't you tell them what we were just talking about?
Okay, yeah, definitely. If there's anything I've noticed with doing this workout warm-up is that the amount of time that it takes me on the wall, just getting into heel hook positions and trying to stretch that out, trying to do dynamic movements to get my nervous system warmed up, like dead hanging off crimps to get my tendons warmed up, traversing, all that kind of stuff. That usually takes me a good solid hour and a half to get to the point that I feel right now, like I'm ready to get more on the wall, do some more specific climbing, do some harder grades, and really start to push myself and start to project or train whatever I want to do today. So it's great to be able to get my body to feel like this, and then be able to get on the wall instead of spending an hour and a half on the wall trying to get this feeling.
Well said. Right? And she brings up a good point. What we've showed you is a general warm-up that could really work for any sport, but some of it's tweaked towards climbing. But this does not replace some of your specific, start on your your intros and your V1s and build up to whatever level that you're climbing at. You still need to do a little bit of that to then transition into your harder, more hardcore climbs, reaching whatever level you can get. But you'll spend a lot less time doing it, and you'll be much more prepped for doing it. Okay, this is not just a warm-up; it's a preparation. It's a transition from sitting in your car, coming into the gym, to working on some of these crazy, Gumby-like moves that you have to hit. Right?
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
It allows you to have a longer amount of time at your peak performance, so a longer amount of time to be climbing that harder grade level and pushing yourself. So.
Injury prevention.
Yep.
All right. Matt, anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
I totally agree with Charlotte. It's definitely I've noticed that I've been able to cut down the amount of climbs. I take a long time to warm up, and usually have to do 1 million V0s, and now I only have to do 500,000. Right. Some of the easier warm ups, like if I were to do a 0, a 2, a 5, and a 7, I may be able to start at the 2 now instead of having to do all those other ones to do that, and that's just tiring me for climbing. But now I can actually focus on more of the things I want to do.
All right, cool. So before we wrap up, I want to make a few thank yous. We want to thank these guys' sponsors. It's Sickle Clothing. You see these cool logos right here, these cool shorts I got. Get them from Sickle. We also want to thank Earthtrex and Timonium. We're lucky enough to live right around the corner from this place. But if you have never been here, this is a place that you have got to check out. I mean, we've got everything here. We've got high-level climbers just walking around ready to help you out. If you can ever get a chance to get down to Timonium, Maryland, check this place out. You will absolutely not regret it. And we also want to thank you for your interest in this project. And I want to thank you guys for helping me out and helping them out. And remember these 3 faces, because we're the originators of the bouldering warm-up. You see it again, that's the duplicators.